Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Keynote podcast. I'm your host, Solaris, and I interview up-and-coming producers in the electronic music scene. Today, I am joined by Skye, aka Skybreak.
Hello, that's me.
So Skybreak is a producer from New Jersey. He has a signature melodic style that takes a lot of inspiration from jazz music. He's had the support of well-established names in the scene such as Chime, PhaseOne, SLANDER, William Black, and many more. Recently, he has had official remixes for artists such as Dabin, Olivers, William Black, and many other artists, and has released with labels such as Disciple, Rushdown, Stratus Union, UKF's Pilot, and Heaven Sent. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
So first off, let me just ask you, how are you doing today?
I am doing okay. It's been a very eventful few days. I've only just moved to university. It's my first time living on my own, and it's really scary, but I'm easing into it. My dorm does not have air conditioning, so this makes it extremely difficult to work. But we're working through it. We're still writing tunes and balancing, work-life music balance. So we're working it out.
So just curious, what are you studying in university then?
So it's kind of up in the air, but as for now, I'm just kind of vibing with music industry major. Hopefully learning some of the back end stuff. Although we'll just have to see where that takes us, honestly. You don't hear too many artists who get their big break in college too yet. But yeah.
All right. So then let's actually dive into like the real kind of meat and potatoes, as they say, when it comes to these questions. So let's go back to the very beginning then. How and when did you discover electronic music?
Oh, it's quite embarrassing, really. So, I used to be into the whole Minecraft YouTubing thing back when that was like a frenzy in 2011 through 2013. And I was watching all my favorite Minecraft YouTubers, specifically Skye Does Minecraft. Oh boy, why would my alias be that? Yeah, so one day, in the very background, I heard a few notes of Noise Storm Renegade in one of the videos, and I was like, whoa, what's this? It was really sick. It said, music supplied by Monster Cat Media, so I had listened to a lot of Monster Cat stuff. I was an avid listener from about 2012 to 2014, and into 2015. That's also a very good era. But one day I was like, well, these people can't be magicians. Like, surely I could try to do this. So I did, and it really was terrible for about 2 or 3 years. But it really was just kind of screwing around for 3 years at that point. But yeah, around 2017 I started, being good enough at it that I could express myself in like a genuine way through the medium. So yeah, I guess it all started from watching Minecraft YouTubers, and now Minecraft people listen to my stuff. So it came full circle.
All right. Another question I have for you has to do with your Spotify bio, and you mentioned songwriting classes at a local music school. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about what necessarily that means? People who don't really understand what that means.
So I had originally been taking drum lessons at the music school, and it was back when they were just kind of starting out before they became an empire today. I'm not going to dox myself, so I'm not going to say what it is. But they've grown into a pretty big deal locally. Like, they put on shows now and like a lot of stuff. But I was there at close to the beginning. I was taking a bunch of drum lessons. So one day they were like, we're going to start up a songwriting class with all the people we believe to be, our core students, like the people that are doing the best, the people that we, see a lot of potential in. Would you like to do it with us? And I was like, yeah, sure. So every year it was completely different, actually. I think the first year we were really just mainly focused in on piano, 4 chords of doom, and we would learn like really, really basic music theory. And we'd kind of write songs over the 4 chords of doom on piano and guitar mainly, just vocal and then one other instrument. And then we recorded a little shitty album with it all, and everyone got one song. I wrote this abysmal demo called Lost in a Sea. That was like 2009 or something. I gotta look for it. That'd be nuts. Yeah, so it started off like that, and then as we kind of all started solidifying into our own styles, that's around when I started to discover, I like making electronic music. So I could kind of apply the songwriting tips I learned from there. Actually, what was really insightful about the class actually is we used to get in this big circle at the end of the day, and we'd all play each other like what we were working on, whether that be, you know, plug the thing, the aux into my phone, or you know, people would live perform their things. And it was really interesting because I stuck out like a bit of a sore thumb. A lot of people really stuck with that piano, guitar, you know, vocal pop music, and I'd been learning a drastically different style of music, so it was kind of cool to get different inputs and stuff, as well as, you know, give my own input for others, because everyone's got their own ear, especially when you're working in different instruments. So I guess I went on a bit of a tangent here, but yeah, that was pretty much the songwriting class. It was very, very helpful for me, and yeah, they just kind of stopped doing it at some point. But I made a lot of friends through that I've gotten guitar parts and vocals done from. So you might have heard of some people from the program on that. It was pretty good.
Is there anybody that we would necessarily know who's like active in this community that you met through that songwriting class, or no?
Nobody necessarily active within, you know, the online social media circle, but I've gotten vocals from some Sam Horvath. She's sung on my track Reflection, which is off my album Above the Clouds from a while ago. I think that's 2019 now. And then I've got another friend, her name is Gabby, and she's played guitar over a few of my tunes as well, specifically Emerald Eyes, and we're working on another one that will hopefully be finished at some point, although neither of us really touched it. But no one here would know anyone from that class unless you're listening from the class.
All right. So then another question that I have for you just kind of has to do, let's just kind of dive more into then production. So
The fun bit.
Yeah, the fun bit. So how necessarily does your like creative process kind of work when it comes to production?
It becomes a bit of a subconscious thing. When sometimes, you know, I'll try really hard. I'll be like, you know, I'll wake up one night and be like, I want to make a song about so and so, or I want to make a song in so and so key at so and so BPM for so and so club utility. But other times, you know, I think my best ideas always just come around from screwing around and putting yourself in a place of full creative freedom. So I guess my goal is to just get into a state where I just don't overthink anything and just see what comes out. And then that's kind of my creative process. Everything just kind of works from there. I don't really have a specific order that I do things. I will say what's been fun lately is to take a picture or an image or like an event or something from like a video game or movie or outdoors or something, and try something not audio focused and then try and put that into audio form. That's a challenge I've been doing for myself. So like, for example, River Spirit off my Lumina EP, that was me trying to emulate a lot of Eastern folklore about spirits on a river, but also trying to combine a little bit of, you know, liquid sound designs in there, and lots of watery layers. So it was just going to be like an encounter with like an ancient river god. And another one of my upcoming, which is called Crystal Heart, not even nearly done yet. It's inspired by this one like 3-second transition between Lava Reef Zone Act 1 and Lava Reef Zone Act 2 in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, where all these molten magma crystals, all these molten magma lava falls, not waterfalls, believe it or not, they all kind of crystallize into this beautiful gem cavern. So I'm trying to make that into a song, and it's just like, when you can think in terms of that, your brain goes some weird places and you can get some sick sounds and fun melodies. So that's my creative process, just kind of trying to think of songwriting as more than just, you know, my ex broke up with me. And obviously you can put those themes into the song, but I mean, why not have my ex broke up with me and now I'm in a mysterious lava crystal cavern?
Very niche, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, no, but that's what it's all about, man. It's like taking the niches and putting your own spin on it and just having a good time with it. And then, you know, then that niche becomes your style.
So clearly you're very into video games then. So would you say that that has like really played a major part in how you found your sound then?
Yes. Undoubtedly, yes. I always joke with my friends, if it sounds like it could be in a Sonic game, it's probably my music taste. Yeah, video games have been pretty important to why I write songs the way I do, why I brand myself the way I do, especially with this latest, deer thingy and stuff. I was really inspired by Ori and the Blind Forest and like Forest Spirits, and I was like, this is something I could probably make a brand out of that hasn't really been done in prior EDM, and it also just fits with my style. So, yeah, I would say video games are like the best medium ever because they combine, writing, visuals, VFX, GFX, of course, music, and it's just like a celebration of all those things coming together. So at its core, so it's just a really cool thing that inspires a lot of my music. But I'm not gonna go on that tangent. I assume you'll bring this up later on, so I'll leave it to you.
Well, actually, how about we bring this up now with the whole deer thing? So that just talk about how that kind of was inspired by games such as like Ori and the Blind Forest then.
Yeah, and Breath of the Wild specifically as well. Specifically the quest where you go up Satori Mountain, to find the Lord of the Mountain, which is like this glowing horse, that's supposed to represent their prior CEO Satoru Iwata, who died in about 2016, I want to say. Although I can't remember. I have no perception of time anymore after COVID, so who even knows? But yeah, it's just like you can only visit it at a really specific time of night, and it's like a bitch to learn to ride. But it's just like it's such a special, memorable moment. Just this tiny side quest. So yeah, Ori and Satori Mountain are the two big influences for the deer.
Yeah, because the one thing I always thought was maybe it was something from like Harry Potter because like Harry's Patronus charm is the stag. I was like, maybe it's something like that.
Weirdly enough, that was an afterthought. Like literally, it was though. I love Harry Potter. Don't get me wrong. When I was 7 years old, I dressed up as Harry Potter, but that was never like really crossed my mind. It was always just more about protectorates of the woods and like forest spirits and just stuff like that, rather than something inherently tied to the wizard world.
But I mean, that's kind of like what the Patronus charm is. So.
Oh, is it? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's kind of like the protector because it's.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna go on a tangent here, but in that one scene in that one book, which I can't remember which book it is.
I think it's book 3 actually.
Yeah, I want to say it's yeah, but there is the scene with the Dementors, and so Harry has to use the Patronus charm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the stag, which I think that was what his dad's Patronus charm was.
I remember that now. Yeah. I do. I mean, obviously, I remember it now. My friends, it was really funny. My buddy Alex Hyperbolt, the day after Lumina release, everyone was taking the piss that it was like unintentionally a Patronus. So he actually bought me the Harry Potter Lego set of the Patronus, and he sent it to me, and I built it on live stream in front of everyone. And now it's on top of my desk back at home, staring down me at my horrible mistake. I'm kidding.
You should have never rebranded.
Terrible mistake. Should just still be this ambiguous group of pillars instead of a recognizable logo.
Yeah, so then let's talk about your kind of creative process when it comes to collaborations, because you've had various collaborations, and we know you have a lot in the works right now as well. So how necessarily does your creative process work when it comes to collaborations?
Again, really kind of varies and depends. Every artist really has their own strengths and weaknesses. And I think if you can bear that in mind and, try to fill the void that the other person has, you end up with really, really cool results. I find I'm a bit of a control freak, so I like to have a central hub project. And I get the other person or people to send me a bunch of shit, and then we just hop into a bunch of calls and like arrange the tune together. and that's always fun. But it's also been the other way around. I just find that's the most efficient way to make tunes, because rather than bouncing out 40 stems, then someone has to mix them in, and then they send that over, but this time it's 60. It's just a real pain in the ass. It's just a whole lot easier if one person has the project, and that's that. I've found.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, that's kind of how I've been collabing. But I've also had entire circumstances like my remix with Neat of Dabin Drown. That was actually fully done in 2 different projects. I did the drops, he did the intros, and then we brought them together and did creative direction in the background of each. There was not a stem passed. It's literally, if you go into my project, it's just me writing a bit over the file he sent, and that's that. And if you go to his, it's likewise.
Yeah. All right. So then another question that I have for you kind of has to do with, I guess it kind of has to do with your release strategy, because you've been releasing pretty frequently. So and we know you have a manager as well, who's Landon, who's been a big part of just EDM, I think, over the past 5 years or so. I want to say,
For sure.
Landon's been a big part. I remember back in the day when he used to do music reviews on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
we love Landon. He's great.
Landon's great. Love Landon. So how necessarily has your release strategy been? Especially kind of, do you work a lot with Landon on, how releases are going to work then?
Just a bit. Honestly, don't expect every year to be like 2021. I released like my entire catalog finally. I did a lot of work during the pandemic, like the early stages, because I took a gap year, and all the stuff I made then is coming out now, conveniently right before I have a show, so I have like no unreleased to play out. But yeah, I mean, I guess the release strategy is really just, give every release its own visual identity, or in the case of a very brand-focused label like Stratos, just make sure it has a color scheme that works for us. There's no real strategy. I mean, I guess I wake up in the morning of release, and I do the Night Owls beware, the song's out tweet. That's always a fun one. And then just through the day, I plug in a bunch of my friend groups and servers and repost chains or whatever. I think the most important part of a release is like, you can't really polish a turd. Okay, you can get 150K on a song, but will people remember that song? Will they care about it? Will they remember the artwork? Like, there's a ton of just, no-name songs that never get played out or anything, but they've got way, way more plays than the ones who do. So I think if you're more so focused on just making a genuinely great song and just, giving it the identity it deserves, having a good time with it, being passionate about the release, I think that's going to do you a lot more good than any, newfangled pay us $50 for this playlist placement release strategy. Because that'll get you played out in the gym, but will it get you played out at EDC? I don't think so.
Yeah. So would you say that definitely branding has a lot to do with it then?
Branding is a very big term. I don't think newer producers should really worry too much about having a solid, brand. Like, don't go out there paying $7,000 for a new logo and style sheet when you don't even know what your style is. I think for me at least, my style just kind of clicked into place through a culmination of things, just experimenting until I found my voice. So I don't really have to make a specific genre. And I think that's when you can really discover what your brand is. But yeah, I guess that's kind of how I would put it. I'd say more visual identity stuff per release is more important. Just keeping something stuck in everyone's head. That's you.
And so do you work then a lot with, I guess, like visual artists when you have a song that you're going to release and that you need art for it? So do you work pretty closely with people like that then?
More closely than a lot of people. I know a lot of DJs and stuff, they'll just be like, whatever, the song's the song, just, let the label have free reign. But I typically like to toss in a few references of like, what visual identity I had in mind per release, especially for songs like Clear Sky, where I really just kind of pictured that city at night kind of vibe, clouds opening up and everything like that, or like Crystal Heart. Hopefully I'll have, a heart that's made of crystal as the cover. That song's not done, doesn't have release plans or anything. So sometimes I'll just have vivid ideas for stuff like that because, if you know what you want, you're 95% guaranteed to get what you want. Whereas if you put the whole creative direction in someone's hands, especially if it's a bit more of like an ambiguous title, like, I don't know, or like Just Because, like, what are they going to do with that? Or like Let's Go. If it's just like a collection of words, like that's going to be really hard for the artist. But if you come up with something, you're in luck.
Mm-hmm. And there are some labels that you've released on. For example, Heaven Sent, which kind of has this whole kind of like Gundam, mech vibe to it. So was there like the graphic designer from Heaven Sent? Did you ever have communication with them?
So we have had very good communication. I almost felt like a geeky kid designing my own Lego minifigure when they were like, "Yo, do you want like a specific mech?" And I was like, "Dear Hitlers." So we got that going. They've been very good. We've wanted a few changes on releases because it's kind of what I mean for more ambiguous titles like Our Moving Picture. Like the heck are you supposed to do with that? But originally they just used actually the Into the Light cover without the portal. That was originally going to be that Our Moving Picture cover. But me and Nitrix kind of decided it's a love song. It's all about, constellations and shit. But we also wanted to keep that mech thing in mind. So we worked it out with the label. That was going to be the art. And then we turned the old one into the Light by adding a little portal. And it worked out for everything. But yeah, when you have such drastically different brands from the label you're releasing on, that's when it becomes a bit more important to be in contact. Because, I could easily just be like, "I'll do whatever." And then for a song called, like, I don't know. It's
like you said, Just Because or Let's Go or something like that.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm trying to think of something a bit more like organic. Actually, all
For you.
Yeah, For You. Let's go for that. If you're Skybreak and you're all about, night skies, nature, forests, deer, auroras, all that stuff, and Heaven Sent comes with For You, and it's a robot chilling in some like metallic Black Ops 2 map. Like that, that's not gonna work for us. So we got to come to a bit of a happy medium.
Yeah. But luckily, I think, because I can see from the Heaven Sent artwork that you were able to design a pretty cool mech. You got the deer mech. So
yeah, we've got such a sick compromise. Honestly, I love working with them. They're so open to new ideas and stuff. I know we're probably like the bitchiest clients for them to work with because we're like, "Oh, we need it to be nature," which is the polar opposite of technology. But we're finding a way to blend the two in a really interesting way, which may or may not be the title of one of my upcoming releases with them. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Big things coming soon, huh?
Big things coming soon, indeed.
And so let's talk then about connection with your fans then. Like you have a Discord server, and I mean, I guess pretty much all artists at this point have Discord servers. So how would you necessarily say that your connection with your fans is though?
Say I've had a decent connection with my fans. It's been quite a busy summer for me with, prep and releases and all that stuff. So I haven't had all that much time to do community events, but now that I'm settled in again, we'll be doing some more community events. But I just find kind of treating fans like friends, just kind of not like insanely close friends. Like I'm not saying go to every single one of your 9 billion friends fans and, like give them a hug individually. But I mean, just doing community events like, Among Us, Mario Kart, that's been another fun one, live streams and stuff. That's a really good way to, turn some person who knows Skybreak into some person who's, hung out with Skybreak for an hour or whatever. And then they're more inclined to listen to some of your future works just by you being like a cool person that's, playing Mario Kart. I don't know. It's so simple and you get to have a good time too. So that's how I've kind of been keeping my Discord server active. In fact, that's a good point. I should set up a Mario Kart tournament very soon.
is I just kind of want to know, like, what else do you like to do other than, make music, go to school, and play video games? Like, what else is there that's kind of in the
Those
life
do
of Skye?
those do suck up a lot of time. But I also, I mean, I can't really do it now that I live in my dorm and they like kill you if you try to cook anything. But I like cooking a lot. I really do enjoy it. Um, Specifically just making stovetop dinners for the fam. I took a gap year from school to focus in on music and to avoid the hell that was pandemic tier freshman year of college. I'm like, bro, if you're taking my money, I'm having the fullest time, or at least the closest to fullest time I can. So I stayed home, and my parents were like, okay, well, you got to learn to be like independent. So you're cooking every Tuesday. And at first I was just like, oh, what? I don't want to cook every Tuesday. Fuck this. Like, I want to play games that little bit longer. But no, honestly, cooking has been really, really fun and therapeutic, and I would even consider it a bit of a new hobby. Especially, yeah, those stovetop meals where it's just you throw a bunch of shit in a pan, like Link Breath of the Wild style, and you see what comes out. And sometimes it's terrible, and sometimes, it's a new favorite. My personal favorite meals I've made have been Thai curry salmon, chicken fajitas. That was baller. I like caramelized some onions and brown sugar, and that was really great. What were some other classics? Um, I just made a lot of food, and it was like very nice, and I proved to myself I could, and that's kind of what mattered.
Cooking show when?
Skye Bakes out tomorrow. Honestly, that would be sick.
Skybake.
Skye Bake. I've got an apron actually for Christmas that says Skye Bake on it. Great. I think I posted about it a while ago.
Well, maybe we need it to actually be a thing. Maybe now we need the show.
Yeah, bro, I'm telling you, it's gonna be up there.
Stay tuned, everybody. Anyways, so then let's actually get back into some more, serious business here. So compared to like when you first started out, how difficult necessarily has it been to kind of stand out then as an artist?
Um, I mean, when you're just starting out, you really standing out doesn't matter all that much. I think just learning the ropes and making as many different styles as you possibly can to figure out which one sticks to the wall is what's most important, even if it's just utterly generic. As long as you're just having fun, writing your heart out, and learning a new thing with every track, I think you'll naturally figure out your little quirks. But I don't know. A lot of us don't really that are. I would say I have a unique-ish sound, so I feel inclined to say this. Um, it's not really something you consciously try to do. It's just like when you've been working for so long, you know what chord voicing you like. Hey, I don't like 200 hertz on this sound. This is my ear doing this bell curve. If you're just consciously making the same song over and over and over again, like that's gonna get really boring. And it's like, sure, even if it's standing out from what everyone else is making, like awesome, that works like once or twice. But when you make your whole sound a gimmick, that's when we get like people that have one hit and then just go back under. I think as long as you're just constantly experimenting, the farther and farther you get, the more it's gonna sound like you, no matter what you're making.
Do you think that that's how you kind of were then? Was there like something that really kind of helped you then find your style?
Again, it wasn't really a conscious thing finding my style. It's just kind of what I enjoy to write. Some people call it future rhythm. That's not the only thing I make. I know. I've got some popular future rhythm and mellow dub tunes, but I really try to shake it up a little bit with most tunes. 'Cause I honestly get bored making the same thing a bunch of times.
That's fair. So then I guess we'll kind of wrap up a little bit here. So usually I ask this question to a lot of my older guests because I've had some people who are, in their 20s or 30s, and they kind of wonder, I guess, like when they were 18, like what was something that they wish they had known then, that something that they know now that they wish they had known when they were like 18. But you're 18 now,
I am 18.
so I can't really ask that question to you, but I guess kind of I'll change this one up for you a little bit. So I guess kind of when you started, let's just say that when you started, because you still have years ahead of you. Um, what do you wish that, little Skye had known then, uh, that he didn't know then, that's something that you know now that you wish you had known then?
Within music or generally?
Just either or, yeah.
Um, well, I'll be honest, I was a fucking loser back then. So, I guess I had really bad work habits back then. So I guess what I would say would be like, get your shit together. One day you're gonna find, passion in music or whatever. So it's just, whatever any dickhead's doing to you at school, like they're not the ones standing up on stage playing weird noises really loud for people. So like, kind of keep doing your own thing and having fun. Everything that's happening in high school with popularity or all those menial factors, like it's utterly meaningless once you get out and you can play your art for other people. Say it would be just more morale things. I don't think I'd change anything about my path here. I mean, sure, it took 7 years, but it's just like that 7 years of experience that I wouldn't have gotten if I had it any other way. So wouldn't change much music wise. I would tell young me to keep their head high, I guess. That would be it.
And then is there kind of anything that you're still kind of, curious about when it comes to, music?
You don't know what you don't know. And I think every day I try to learn something new. I couldn't really name what I don't know because, again, I don't know it. So I just want to just keep learning random, fun, little sound design geeky stuff. And I'm sure I will for years to come.
I mean, after all, you are 18, like we said, so you got
18.
lots of time. You got lots of time,
Hopefully.
man. So I guess kind of leading into that, because you're so young, kind of like, what are the plans then for you? Like, what are your plans for the future?
Oh God, that's a very loaded question.
I don't mean to like stress you out here, but
the immediate future is kind of juggling that Hannah Montana lifestyle of, I got a show on Saturday. It takes a day to get there and a day to get back, and I have finals next week. What do I do? So the plans will be kind of navigating that and figuring out how to balance getting a degree with, getting paid to play my music really loud. So that's the immediate future plan. After that, I'd ideally like to get into a situation where I just play a lot of shows and, increase my visual identity a bit more, which costs a lot of money. So I've kind of gotta play shows to get my shows better and, climb up the ladder until I kind of fully satisfy my vision. So I guess that's the plan for the future, just really solidify Skybreak as like the nature dubstep person and, play shows that mean a lot to people and move them and, make them have a good time, in like a uniquely me way. So that's the plan for the future, I suppose. And then get a degree.
of course. Well, I'm really excited to see what the future holds for you. And I just kind of want to know, is there any advice that you have, since you're young, is there any advice that you would have for, young people who, want to, just try to break further into electronic music? Young producers?
All right, I'll give some advice. Don't call it networking, call it making friendships. That's the big first one. If you see making connections as making quote unquote connections, 90% of real people see right through that. They see you're trying to like dick ride them and whatever. Just let everything come to you naturally. Honestly, if you're just a cool person that makes a lot of sick music, you don't have to prove yourself by by like jumping on promoters' laps. You know what I mean? Like, should just be a cool person and just keep continuing and polishing your craft. I guess the other piece of advice I would give is this is a long game. I'm still not where I want to be. And I think if you just work a teensy tiny bit every single day, whether that be literally making like a snare, or if like one single snare and then walking off, or just playing piano for an hour or something, or hell, even just making an entire track or taking lessons, just make sure every day you have at least a little bit of engagement. And if you pick at the ice just a little bit, one day the glacier will collapse, and there's your opportunity. That's a horrible analogy. I hope the glacier doesn't collapse. That would be really bad.
But one day you'll find the gold.
One day you'll find the gold, pretty much. But yeah, just keep working hard. I know it sounds so cliche, but it is a long game.
That's actually some really good advice. So thank you everybody for listening into this episode of the podcast. I'm Solaris, and this has been the Keynote Podcast.
All right, thanks for having me, and goodbye, everyone.